Early on in episode 3, we have one of these either-or choices between saving Malcolm or saving Beskha when we're all being attacked by Drogon. And that's one of those choices that we want to give players something really meaningful to engage in. So our criteria for that is, are these relationships hard to pick between your friend who's a sellsword who's had your back for years or your uncle? We try to put the player in a position where it's difficult to make a choice between the two of them. And sometimes that can come in the form of, your duty as a lord versus your love for a family member. It's hard as a human and it's hard as a player to make these distinctions between the people that you love and the people that you owe something to. So that's often where we begin and trying to figure out, is this a good decision? Is it something the player really, really cares about?
Guard this with your life. Return it to Ironrath, where it belongs. There's no time to waste. I'll be damned if I let it fall into the hands of those traitors.
Early on, Lord Forrester tells Garrett the Northgrove can never be lost. And he says, tell no one. Tell no one but Duncan. And throughout the season, we're going to test that. Are there people that you need to tell or that you feel you need to tell in order to fulfill your mission? And we just thought that was a really interesting thing to give players control of. Like, here's a secret, and the person who told you the secret says, there's only one person I want you to tell. But then other relationships come into your life or other pressures come into your life that make you rethink, he couldn't have possibly known that I might need to tell Jon Snow about this. And that seemed like an interesting thing to let players engage with that on their own on their own heart or their own moral compass. What should I do if I had a command or I had a secret and now there's a new circumstance? Do I need to rethink what I thought I was supposed to do? And in which case, what's right? Testing a player's loyalty in the Game of Thrones is a very tricky thing. It could get you into big trouble if you go too far with it. But then again, at the end of the day, what else do you have but your loyalty and your honor and your sense of who you are? So that seemed like something that would be really interesting to put players in charge of.
Fucking figures. At the hands of a fucking Forrester.
I think a lot of people chose not to kick him off the wall. And I was sure that people were going to just lean into their hatred of this guy and throw him off. But I saw a lot of people commenting online about, they wanted to, but they felt like it was going to come back and get him. And so I was surprised that a lot of people sort of held back in that last moment. But one of the big things that we always have to do when we design an episode is figure out what are the big five at the end. And those decisions are often, we look at, do we have an even spread? Is there a Garrett one and a Mira one and an Asher one? What are the most meaningful? What are the ones that are going to resonate through the season? And so we'll kind of whittle it down to the big five. And there's often more than five. And so what we do is, for people who have a Telltale account, you can log on to your Telltale account and look at extra community decisions and see, what are the extended stats.
What is this?
It's a parade of dead men if I have my way.
House Forrester is definitely a house that's fighting for its own survival. And if we do that the wrong way, I think there's a problem that players will feel powerless. But what we do is we give them a lot of smaller moments that they feel empowered. Like, for example, when Roderick is facing down with Griff and Griff's demanding that he stay down, we give players the opportunity to keep getting back up. You don't have to accept the state of your house as a powerless, impotent entity. You don't have to accept that your house has fallen from power. You can keep getting back up again. And through Roderick, you can really do that. And then we offer other POVs like Mira. Mira gets to play the game a little more subtly, and she has small gains that she makes. And then obviously Asher. Asher is our POV that allows people to be quite empowered and really make things happen. So we use a variety of techniques to keep people feeling like things are bad and they could get worse, but moment by moment, I have more control than it would appear. There are a lot of decisions in the episodes and in the season that players will already know what the outcome. For example, the Purple Wedding. You know it's going to happen. You know Tyrion is going to jail. And we didn't want people to have to pretend like they're forgetting everything they know about the show, because that's, part of being a fan is really loving the show and knowing how everything turns out. So we tried to present that in a way that, for example, your relationship with Tyrion could be important, even though you know he's going to jail, but that you feel like my continuing relationship with this guy could extend beyond season 4 of the show and beyond our season of the game. You never know what's going to happen with Tyrion. And so we tried to give a lot of wiggle room for people who already know what's going to happen in the show, but want to make decisions in the game, kind of role-playing with the characters who don't know.
Frostfinger is calling for your head. Tell me Britt's death was an accident.
So without revealing any spoilers, I think the two things I'm most excited about for next episode are Asher meets Daenerys Targaryen. That's going to be good. And the things that fall out from that are going to be great. And then as Roderick, some things are going to happen at House Forrester and maybe at House Whitehill that might be really, really interesting for people. I'm excited for players to get into that. Hey, this is Ryan Kaufman, and I just wanted to thank the community. Thank you for everything, your support, your enthusiasm, and we can't wait to get you more Game of Thrones.